Now I'm showing you the biggest secret in pigeon racing that someone showed to me in 1994, and I took it with a pinch of salt, and I says, bullshit. And today, 15 years later, I says, it's the ultimate to select a pigeon if you are on a sale. The ultimate. And I will go so far as you can hold the pigeon in your hands, and I'll walk it, I'll open the mouth, and I'll tell you exactly about the pigeon. And I'll be more than 95% correct. Because the throat of a pigeon tells you everything. Now this is macro photography, not always very good, because that little curtain at the back, I'm referring largely, there's three things you should look at in the throat of a pigeon. I'm referring to the curtain of a pigeon at the back. Firstly, let's go to the pigeon which you can't photograph. The veins in the back of the throat should be like a cobra, should be prominent, should be curly, should be wild, should be vigorous and pulsating to give you the vitality of a pigeon. The older the pigeon gets, the veins start to disappear. Eventually they level out with the throat in the back when the vitality and the pigeon is finished. Secondly, on the throat of a pigeon there's a hole. Should not be open like that. Very difficult to photograph. We can't get a photo even in there. And I've got wonderful macro equipment and we can't do it. It should not be half like that. It should be small and thin. It's all got to do with the amount of oxygen that a pigeon takes in, the quality of the oxygen that goes to his lungs. If he operates small, he can function on very little oxygen. The bigger he goes, the more defective is his lungs problems, and the bigger and round he goes, he eventually will be a young baby that will go like this when you hold him. Then you can kill him. Even if you use all the Tylenol, all the erythromycin and all the chemicals there is to restore that sound, you are not healing his lungs. That pigeon should be killed. It should be small and thin, working with as little oxygen as possible. Then you've got a pigeon that can fly and has got lungs that can contribute to his winning. Because no big pigeon can fly with bad lungs. You understand? Now how can I put a test to it? It says, guys, let's go have a jog around the park here. We're all going to take a washing pin and put it on our nose and see who lasts when you haven't got enough oxygen. You need oxygen to function. And the best the pigeon can utilize his oxygen, the better the pigeon will be. And the ones that's like that needs too much. It needs to be small. That's the second point. Now the third point, and the biggest secret in pigeon racing I'm revealing today. And in the world, more than 95% of the people don't know it. And I'm going to show it to you. That slit that's up in the center of a pigeon is the biggest secret in pigeon racing in the world today. I'm going to tell you a lot of things about that curtain that guys have never thought about, but it shows there. And I'll prove it by photo today. These little cones at the back, we call them the sharp teeth. If a bird pigeon has got canker and you don't treat it, it will eat away part of that. So when you open up and you look at that, you see it's got little parts that's eaten away. You don't see the sharp teeth. That's when a pigeon has had canker. And usually that's a pigeon with a bad immune system when it gets eaten away. A good breeder and a good racer very rarely get sick. Very rarely get sick. Because his immune system, his stamina, his class of pigeon is so good, it can take him through the most difficult situations of medical distress. that he'll survive on the other side. Where the weaker pigeon with bad immunity, bad willpower, can be taken with disease just like that. That's why South Africa is so big in muties. Because my eggs has just proven why South Africa is so big in muties. Because they ring any nonsense pigeon. The higher the egg, the more quality the pigeon. That's the eggs you should work with. Now, the longer, the thinner, the closer. If we take 2 sheets of cloth and we hang it here, we close it, and we put it together to lie perfectly in a straight line, the better the pigeon. The longer, the more stamina the pigeon has got. The shorter, it will become sprinters. And I'm going to show them to you. The wider open, the worse, the badder the pigeon. The more defective that line is, the more the pigeon belongs in the waste paper basket or your can of dirt at home. Now you don't believe me. 15 years time you'll phone me and says, that's the biggest secret you ever taught us. Because someone told me that in 1994. They showed that to me. 2 pigeons. I said, I don't believe it. It wasn't in South Africa. It was overseas. I said, I don't believe it. It was the truth. The bigger the combs at the bottom, the more stamina the pigeon carries. The smaller the combs, like a ragged-toothed shark. Now, a ragged-toothed shark's got a lot of teeth, but very thin, small teeth. And a great white has got strong, less teeth, but stronger, good teeth. The thinner, the less stamina. Short distance, middle distance pigeons. The coarser, meaning stronger teeth at the bottom. The pigeon's got a lot of stamina. A lot of long distance racing. The longer this curtain is and bigger, and take note that this curtain must fall right from the sides, the better the pigeon. Now let's go on to our next photo. This little youngster, this was a youngster, has got coming down from the top, and then all of a sudden, yeah, it just fades out like it's been taken by canker. Now that is what it will look like on your little teeth at the bottom when canker is eaten it away. Like that. But this pigeon is like that on both sides, meaning he was born like that. Canker usually would take one side and the other side is okay, or would take a portion out of there and it's okay. But this guy's been born like that. It's a youngster. You can see on the side of his mouth he's still a youngster, very rubbery over there. He's got a nice healthy curtain, very clean, no yellow marks. Remember, that's where you get the small yellow dots in the throat. And a lot of people phone me and says, what is the small yellow dots on the back of the throat? It's canker cells that develops from a small age. This pigeon hasn't got it, meaning it's got a good immunity. But this pigeon is absolutely worth nothing. It's not a very big comb at the back, but defective over there. This pigeon, percentage-wise, if you take it, the comb starts about there to there, it is about 70% of it is deformed. Meaning that pigeon is only worth about 70%. Let's go to the next photo. Oh, beautiful comb from there. But see where this comb stops here. It's not right on the sides, into the inside. That one stops approximately there. Beautiful teeth here at the bottom. Nice and straight curtain. But right in the center, it's got a canker cell. It's open there. Already shows that this pigeon's got no immunity. Because from a very young age, already this was a youngster, it's got canker in the throat. Not a good one. Should be culled. Because if you have to use tablets now to heal it, it shows you already pigeons that has got a strong immunity, that's winning you the first prizes, and it's got a will to win and a will to come home Next one. Right in the center. Now if you see from the top it coming down, and from there it's defective. From there to there it flares open. With right on the inside of it a canker cell. Beautifully teeth here, nice and strong teeth, meaning the pigeon's got a bit of stamina. But there it shows already as a baby, as a young bird. You can see very clearly it's a young bird here, on there, that it's got no immunity. Look at that guy. Look at the small yellow white cells starting to develop there. That is the yellow cells that you see in the back of the throat. And says, what is it? It's also a young bird. And there it's starting to develop. It's white. Eventually it turns yellow. And it's got a hole right in the center. Means absolutely nothing. This one, you'll see there's a line going around there. A line going around there, in the center also a line. It's opening up the curtain completely. Healthy pigeon, no little white marks on the top, very clear curtain, nice teeth at the bottom, but it's defective right there. Now the next one, very, very interesting. Remember the yellow marks that we said that you always find on the comb of a pigeon? That they've analyzed, and Charles Stander tells me now they say it's actually nothing. But that is on the starting point. Remember I showed you a photo, a couple of photos back, where on the top it was very small. Here I can show it to you very big on the comb of the pigeon. This is also a young bird, as you can see from the side of its mouth. It's a young bird and still the feathers developing on this side. There is, before it turns yellow, very beautiful comb it's got. Very nice small teeth, meaning a short to middle distance pigeon, not much stamina in it. Lovely in the center coming up, but right on it is the start of the yellow marks. And the yellow marks, once it's in a pigeon, and I agree with Shalia, is that is after the thing has healed. It's the marks like a guy that's got a pimple and he presses the pimple and there's a week later a mark there. It's after the pimple, after the canker. That is in the beginning stages of it, as the pigeon is a baby. That already tells us that the pigeon's got a weak immunity, will not last the course of racing, and should be eliminated. Let's see the next one. Now we're starting to go over to better throats, better keels. Starts on top, comes down a small little mark on that side there, comes down straight down with very small together combs on that side, the sharp teeth, and quite acceptable throat, quite acceptable curtain. A pigeon I'll give a fair chance to race with. Let's have a look at the next youngster. Also very nice. Coming down from the top, it's more closed, it's got no marks on the comb, it goes nicely into the sides, and it's fairly big. Remember, this will even go a little bit bigger from baby age up to 3 years full development. A pigeon's tail only reaches maturity, meaning the correct length, the correct balance of the pigeon, 3 years. The wing of a pigeon, the secondary and the primary flights, every year they mold this a little bit longer. It only stabilizes after 3 years. The eye of a pigeon will increase in color and increase in dignity and increase in quality and vigor up to 3 years where the eye stabilizes. Then it will stay the same up to approximately 8 years, and slowly but surely the quality of the eye will go backwards. And as soon as the eye goes backwards, if it's 6 years or 7 years, the pigeon is finished for breeding pigeons, for breeding purposes. If you breed out of old pigeons, your loft will go backwards in pigeon racing. By me, 6 years. Thereafter, if a guy wants the pigeon, he can buy it from me. Or I'll walk with it to the pigeon basket and eliminate it. Because you cannot overpopulate your loft and think you have got these wonderful birds. I was at a friend the other day, and I said, what are you doing with all this stock? He says, I've paid so much money for them, I must keep them. Now what has money to do when the pigeon is going downwards? You will never get your money back. No one is going to pay you the same amount when you bought that pigeon when he was young. So eliminate these birds and work with young pigeons. You cannot produce Zola Bud. Now Zola Bud is a South African athlete that was a very worthwhile long distance athlete. She was thin, she was skinny, she had knock knees, and she got little bumps like a chicken on a farm. But she could run forever, wonderful stamina. But she was bred from young parents. In the world, there is not one Olympic athlete or a world-class athlete that has been bred and reared by grandfather and grandmother. They come from young people. If you see two older parents and they've got a youngster, a laat lammetjie, a late little baby, next to them you'll find the late little baby is always a baby that's not playful with the other kids. You always tend to hold back. You always tend to be on mother's side because the stamina and the vigor is lost because of the parents, the cells and the seed has become old. Now if your face gets old, don't think your seed is still fresh quality of 20 years old. It's also old. Meaning if we take this whole concept onto racing pigeons, the egg coming from the female, right, the embryo and the egg itself is old as the female. And the seed of the cockbird is as old as the looks of the cockbird. You cannot produce your quality races from them. You have to eliminate. This youngster has got a quite acceptable. The color of the throat is not very nice. It should be more crisp. I think that's only to camera work, but in the center, a nice little line, nice finished off, no marks on it, a healthy baby. Should be given a chance. Same here, coming down from the bottom, nice and straight, combs at the bottom, that's not the canker marks, that's just light reflecting from the spit inside the mouth of the pigeon. Should be given a chance. As you can see, it goes nice into the corners, nice into the corner here, filling the back with the curtain, beautiful. Should be given a chance. Let's go on to the next one. Wonderful photo, excellent photo. A wonderful comb starting right on top, and the curtain, the two pieces of material has been closed together, comes down from the top right to the bottom, makes it 100% 90-degree square, goes right into the corner of the mouth, beautiful white teeth there, a healthy crispy throat, a wonderful pigeon for breeding and for racing purposes. Let's have a look at another one. Wonderful one. Starting right on top, coming right down into the sides, beautiful teeth at the back, straight from the top to the bottom. It shows as if that's bad, but have a look at the shade from the camera work. It's coming from that side, meaning it's throwing a little bit of shade. As you can see, this throat, it's bulging a little bit out. So on the inside here, it's a little bit of shade catching it there, causing that, but a wonderful throat of a pigeon for racing and for breeding purposes. But the perfect throat's still coming. Let's have a look further. Again, a wonderful pigeon, a young bird. Lovely color to it, lovely big, a long distance, stamina, hard fighting, racing pigeon. From the top to the bottom, flowing, nice curtain, beautiful, no marks on it whatsoever, showing that the pigeon has got a wonderful coverage against disease. The immune system is strong. And a pigeon, most definitely, that I would like in my race loft. And in the breeding loft as well. Next one. You see immediately the curtain is much smaller. It's not so long as the other pigeons. But it goes right onto the corners there. Right into the corner here. A shorter, middle to short distance pigeon. Beautiful, healthy, straight line. And I would give that pigeon a very fair chance to score for me. Here we've got also a young bird. You can see it's still developing there. Already nice. Look again how the shade is catching it there. Very young pigeon. Very clean on the inside. I'm a little worried about marks that's sitting there and sitting there. which can be canker developing, but still so small. Remember, this photo when it was taken was approximately 2 centimeters away from the inside of the pigeon. We stretch the mouth open, put the camera inside, focus and shoot. Very nice sharp teeth at the back, a pigeon worthwhile giving a chance. Again, a youngish pigeon, not an old bird yet. You can see from the side here, it hasn't got any of the wattles still growing either there or on the sides. Beautiful teeth there, coming from the top, making a little bit of a fold on that side, not sideways. The fold is from the top down, curving over the curtain like that. Very healthy pigeon and a worthwhile giving a chance. Have a look at the vein at the back that I said now. A vigorous vein, that's line. And here's the hole on the tongue. Should be long and narrow. That vein over there, taking oxygen and blood supply to the brain, should be vigorous like a snake. Should be in a fighting spirit. Should be working, should be pounding blood like that. Not a dead little vein at the back like that. It shows the vitality and the fighting spirit of a pigeon. Let's have a look at the next one. They're getting better. That's the back. When babies get fed, that little area on stock birds get a little bit harder on there. But let's go to the curtain. This curtain is running right inside there. The shadow is throwing it away. From this side it's going right inside here. It's coming right from the top down in a straight line to there. Very healthy, clean, and an enormously good stock pigeon. Good racer also. That's the throats you should have in your stock loft. All of them. And if the throat has got thread marks on it, it's as bad as the thread marks on the outside of an egg. It's as bad as the thread marks on the feather of a pigeon. That's the quality of pigeons you should not have in your loft. They should look like that. Like the perfect egg, the perfect feathering, the perfect baby, the perfect throat. Wonderful pigeons. Let's continue. Now, from here I'm taking you over to show you the working flight of a pigeon. Now remember, what I'm showing you is more than 95% a fact. The guy who is eye sign guys and bishop circle guys, you are only 50% right. You are 50% wrong. This that I'm showing you is the absolute truth by 95%. The eggs, the throats, and now we're going to the working flight of a pigeon. Very interesting. There's like. It's a cockeye flight that always occurs between the secondary and the primary flights. This is a Janssen pigeon I've imported from the UK. It's a double winner in England. And that flight does not fit in. That flight is smaller, it's undeveloped, and it's always found between the two. I'm going to show you more of these flights. Have a look at the next photo. Between the secondary and the primary flights, there's this little stupid flight. Let's have a look at the next photo. There's line. These flights are all rounded, but this little flight, which a lot of people will say is the flight between the two, you get a short one, but it's an undeveloped flight. It's injured. You can see it very definitely, it's injured. This is a 7990. It flew 16 times in the clock in a period of 2 years, now in the stock loft. Let's go on to the next photo. There's a baby with one of them right there. What's remaining? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The first flight is a poop flight. Let's go to the next photo. You can see it doesn't fit in with the other flights. And it's always in the center between the primary flights and the secondary flights. You get a dry, undeveloped flight. Each one of these pigeons, and for me it's 100% sure, 100%, is a good racer. Not breeding, racing. It's called the working flight. And if you want to get pigeons to race well, and you're going through pigeons, just open up both wings and you're going to find that flight. And when you find the flight, it's a good racer. And if a guy puts a pigeon like that in the hand, you open up the flights and you see here's a working flight line, tell him, oh, what a great racer. You'll say, hell, you know pigeons. You don't know pigeons, you know the flight. That tells you. You understand? So if you see that in young birds, it's a flight that develops badly. And it's always a hard, dry flight. Mark my words, it will race well for you. Now go into your loft and go have a look at all your good racers. Open the flights and you can see, hey, here's one with a fast flight. Now all the pigeons haven't got that flight. But the ones who has got that flight is a good racer. Okay? And I believe you breed the best babies from good racers. Let's just go a little bit back into breeding. If you get pigeons from this guy and this guy, wonderful pedigrees, to put them together, the chance of breeding a good racer is very low. But if you take from one guy a double winner, and you take from that guy a pigeon that has flown in 1 year 8 times in the clock over decent racing against decent competition, and you put them together, your chance of breeding pigeons that will race well is very high. So I advise strongly to work with stock that's young, stock that's proven in the race loft, and I'm talking against me that's got a breeding stud. To give you the right advice is pigeons that's young, pigeons that have scored, pigeons that's got a racing ability, and put them together, the chance of breeding good racers is very high. Now let's go on to Belgium to prove my point. The big guys in Belgium, now let's, you know, I've got friends in Belgium, August and Frank Dalemans. In 1994, when I heard the story about the throats, I was in Belgium with Tommy Feathers and Charlie Ben. And I was met August Dalemans and various pigeon fanciers. And this guy is the chief patron, August Dalemans, of the South African Homing Union. He's also the Belgium coordinator for the Sun City race, to get pigeons into the Sun City race. More than 500 pigeons from Belgium is coming from the greatest lofts. Not only that, he doesn't only work with the great lofts, he has also got a heart feeling for the small fanciers. If you take the race results in Belgium or in any big country, it's not only big names on top, it is also smaller fanciers on top that's making their mark. And you see on the internet these smaller names, you want to know more or get pigeons from them. You don't know how to get to these birds, and how to get to these lofts, or even to import these cheaper pigeons. Because if you take pigeons from Mark de Kok, Koopmans, you pay a hell of a price for them. But you get just as good pigeons in the smaller lofts. And that is where August Dalemans has opened for me doors to very smaller lofts in Belgium with little pigeons, to get pigeons from them. And he's been a friend to South Africa. He's been a personal friend visiting me at home, and when we go to Belgium, visiting him there. He's a guy that's got in stud the most wonderful Janssen and Mielemans pigeons that you can order direct from them at a reasonable price. So if I must say ever there's a friend that helped me in Belgium and opened doors for me and can take me where I can go to any place in Belgium and would not take any cost in consideration, is August and his son Frank Dalemans. So if ever you decide that you want to import a pigeon, and to know that you're working with people that will trust you and you will trust him, and your pigeon will get in a healthy state in South Africa, that's the guys to work with. For me, they've got a very small spot. But let's go on to the bigger side of pigeon racing. Eric Limburg, Koopmans, Mark de Kok, call them, many of them, big names, has reached the top of the ladder of pigeon racing by buying the best race birds available in the area. So if a pigeon is a national winner, or a ace pigeon of Belgium, or a province or so, these guys will be there to get it. And they would put ace pigeon to ace pigeon, national winner to national winner, provincial pigeon to provincial winner, and they breed wonderful pigeons, and they dominate pigeon racing. That's why I come back to my point to say, if you want to breed good birds, get good racers to good racers. It's the shortcut to pigeon racing. And then do your selection from there, and you'll have a wonderful loft as quick as possible. I have also seen in Belgium that every pigeon with a working flight, as soon as I open, the guys pass a pigeon to you, they all speak in Belgium, in Vlaams and so on. They open up the wings and I say, oh yes, a good racer. Oh, I'm goeie duifkenner, huh? But it's not, I know the flight. And he has also told me, the guys in Belgium, that if that flight is there, it's always a good racer. Let's continue. Have a look where it's sitting, right there. It's also a baby, you see? But right there, there's the working flight. It's always between the secondaries this side, primaries on that side. There it is, already in a baby. That's a pigeon that should go to Sun City or to the National Loft or to a sales race or whatever, because that will be a good one. This, incidentally, is a baby that's bred from Pigeons that we got one good egg off this year. And that's the baby. And there's the secondary. Pigeons was the best pigeon in South Africa 2000. Next photo. Very interesting. Now we've finished with the working flight. And we're going to touch about a couple of small things on pigeons for you interesting to see. As you can see, this is a young bird. Now my question to you is, why is a young bird this area? Basically rubber. Soft, bends easy. And have a look at that little thing right there. Very sharp. But the rest from there is rubber. This is a breeding cock. You can see he's old on the side here. A lot of wattle growing at the bottom. He's infertile now. That was my number one, the club cock I had. And you see on the side here, when he feeds babies, that is where the beak will be, the rubber area of the beak will be on the side. So to make it for the hen and the cockbird easier to accept as much as two beaks into their mouth, because they've got two babies and both of them sometimes get fed together, not to hurt and to damage. The baby has got a very rubbery mouth to help the parents not to be so sore, because they get fed daily how many times. But what does the little sharp tip do? Have a look at the back of this pigeon. Wonderful curtain. But see, it even makes an angle over there. Through the years, that little sharp point in front of the baby has cut the throat at the back by feeding. And I've also seen throats where you get a little piece of skin that has been cut so much that it grew with a little piece of skin standing like that, cut by the front part of the beak of the baby. And the rest of the baby is rubber, protecting mother and father on this side not to be damaged and hurt. Right, next photo. We've got an egg here. As you can see, the egg was cleared out nicely and cut nicely by the youngster inside, but it's patched with one piece over the other. This egg, when it was laid on a hard piece of poo that was in the nest pan, and it broke a hole inside. So I took the things the ladies are doing their nails with, what do they call it? Q-Tex. Painted it on, broke another piece from another egg, slap it on top, painted over again 2 coats, and left it to dry. And it bred out. So, what I'm telling you, you can patch eggs with Q-Tex. Most people is doing it, but if there's a hole inside, and you can patch that hole very quickly before the egg dries out, you can save the egg, especially if it's a very good egg. Okay, next photo. I once bumped into a pigeon this year that had a mark there. I thought, what a wonderful flight. Look at the feathers. Doesn't make sense. I thought, what? How did this happen? Let's have a look at the next photo. Then I closed the wing a little bit and I saw, oh, they all fit together. Look at that. See? Next photo shows us, have a look at that. In the nest box at night when the pigeons are sleeping, rats And if you have rats, you've got a major problem. And also crickets. And maybe other insects as well that we don't know of. While the pigeon is lying on its side, even on its legs like that, it just becomes high enough for these little animals and insects to chew away on the side of the pigeon and may leave a mark like that. Usually when it's rats, it like tears it a little bit. When you open it up, you can see it's got a big mark, a very ugly type of mark. But this is a very nice, small, detailed little mark, which I think was maybe a cricket or something like that that ate it away, which was just interesting, and I want to share it with you. On our next photo, we see it where I took it in macro, really big, and see this right here at the bottom, exactly where a cricket could have been sitting while the pigeon was lying down and eating it. Now let's see what we have on our next photo, which will show to us, just as a reminder, the perfect egg. A very nice shiny egg, no problems around the egg. The egg is round, and the question comes here, why is an egg round? Have you ever thought why an egg is round? Why is it not square? Why is it not rectangular? Because when it's round and oval like that, it doesn't break very easy. Because it shows pressure like a dam wall to the inside of the water. Stronger. And the second thing why an egg is round, it makes the baby and gives the baby the opportunity to break out very easily. Because the dam wall is now other way around. And what allows the baby to open the egg and to come out? Because the baby is very small. Now you've got a very strong egg. Nature gives it the ability to go outwards. It protects it from the parent sitting on the egg, from not breaking. Right? That's why the egg is oval. And our next photo shows us, what do we find on a baby that brings the ability to break out of the egg? It's got a horn like a rhino on the beak. Let's go to the next photo. Right there. And that is how the baby, when it's developed, just pushes upwards onto a shell that's now very weak and very strong from this side. And it makes the first goops. Then it moves his head, goops, goops. And it basically goes right around by moving his head, breaking it open with his little horn. Now you can see why an egg is strong from the outside and very weak from the inside. And why a baby has got a rhino horn to break out. Let's have a look at our next photo. This is an old pigeon. It's a Janssen cock. This pigeon was 3 times the best pigeon in the club on the long distance. He's from the trip to the clock family. He became infertile. Now I'm showing you when pigeons and old pigeons are infertile, an easy way to try and catch another egg. Cut the tail in half, the male and the female. Let's go on to our next photo. After the male and female has been cut in half, meaning we allow the tail to get underneath each other for fertilization, something like that, fertilization to take place. And we take the rear side of the pigeon right in the gun and we cut the feathers. Don't pluck the feathers. It's very sore, because I'd love to pluck a couple of hairs from your rear and you'll feel what it's like. Okay? And I've seen people actually plucking the feather. I say, are you mad? That's the most sensitive part. Right there. Cut it, the male and the female. The tail is short and much easier for connection to take place. No feathers in between to hamper the seed. Tails are shorter to get underneath each other, especially if your breeding boxes are smaller and so on. You shouldn't have small breeding boxes. And fertilizations can then take place much easier. Our next photo shows us that this particular pigeon, 3 times best pigeon in the club, has got a working flight. And now look at the interesting side of the next photo. This particular pigeon has got a very good keel. the throat at the back. It's big, it's wide, it's got wonderful, wonderful sharp teeth, beautiful health. The curtain is closed right up to the top, telling you it's a wonderful pigeon to work with as a racer and as a breeder. Our next photo shows the Federation champion of the Northern Cape. Very interesting details I'm giving you now. Northern Cape Pigeon Federation this year. It's Louis Vermeulen. This guy has done with pigeons that no one else ever dared to go, not even in Belgium. What he did with pigeons, I quite downright ignore what he's saying. But I lend my ear to start to do the same, otherwise we'll never beat him. He flies pigeons 17 times out of 20 races, weekend after weekend, from the beginning right to the end, non-stop. We say a young bird 2 or 3 races up to 300 kilometers. A yearling a little bit further to 600-700 kilometers, maybe 4 to 6 races. And then from a 2-year-old we can start working with the pigeon a little bit harder, and thereafter, if it's worthwhile, retain it to the stock loft. He says no. He takes a 2009 baby and he races it right down to Cape Town. He takes a 2008 youngsters, not one of them, they are yearlings, remember, and he races them from the beginning right to Cape Town. And if the pigeon returns a little late, then his mate, look, his pigeons all come together. They like that. And he would just give it a rest for 2 weeks in the program. Because he says, if the pigeons cannot last and cannot take the punch, it's not worthwhile in my loft. Now let's have a look at his loft. His loft is a Wendy house, as you can see very clearly from there to there. It's no more than approximately 3 meters. He's got an aviary of wire in front, bird wire, so much. He had a trap there on the side, which I didn't photograph in the photo because it was too ugly. Because this picture will be in the next SA Pigeon magazine. But he's got a wonderful wife. Look at her eyes. And this little Okie, he's a pigeon man, heart and soul. He tells me you can fly pigeons even harder. The little Okie says so. Go fly them even harder. And I says, whose pigeons? It's our pigeons. And Louis, a young man, very soft of heart, great fancier, hard worker in the club, most appreciated. And since he's won the Fed, he's lost a couple of friends. Unfortunate. And Louis can't really take it. His heart is too soft. But I encouraged him, I kept him going, week by week, day by day. We spoke pigeons to keep him on the map. I says, you've got to win this, because what you're doing has never been done. Now let's have a look at the next photo. This pigeon will be on the front page of the new South African Pigeon magazine. It was flown 17 times out of 20 races. It scored 14 times. Look what happened. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 3 times it returned late, 3 times it had a 2 weeks rest. And it flew right from the beginning, right up to nearly 800 kilometers. Let's have a look at on the next photo. There's the result to prove it. 88-14-7, 14 times, participating in a club of 33 members. So many pigeons was basketed. And look at the kilometers. 300, 500, 700, 800, 600, 500, 700, 600, 300, 500. In Belgium they don't even do it with pigeons. And not only that, that's not the only pigeon he's got. There are many of them that he has flown weekend after weekend. And he's selling them at a hell of a price because he doesn't want to let them go. I was lucky to get one of them because I wanted the cock. He flew it on the long distance, weekend after weekend for 8 weekends. On the long distance. Scored every time. And I said, I want the pigeon. Because last year I bought a hen he did the same with. Also weekend after weekend. And you'll see the eye of that pigeon now. He just races them. And he's got a loft of pigeons that's so strong, so full of stamina that you cannot compete with him. Maybe the best loft of pigeons in South Africa today. Let's go to the next photo. Shows us the eye of that hen. It's got a black mark right there. Now we're going to go over to marks on eyes to show you wherever a pigeon has got a black mark on the eye, or a stripe like that, or a patch, or black smothering through the eye, the iris. The iris is that part, the color part. It's always a good pigeon. Let's go on to the next picture now. Now we're going towards eyes. This is the pigeon I bought from Mr. Louis Vermeulen last year. It's got a pearl eye. This is not a pearl eye. This becomes a darker. But see, black from there to there. Smudging through. Forget the bishop circle. Forget the pigmentation. Concentrate on the dark marks in an eye. 2050 raced weekly, 550, 660, 660, 720, 720, 820. Scoring in the federation in all. Amazing ability. Weekend after weekend, Mr. Louis Vermeulen. This year he continued to do it, and he flew us to pieces. In the first 10 ace pigeons of the federation, he's got 7. The rest of the 108 federation members could only get 3. Louis Vermeulen has got 7 pigeons. Of course, they scored weekend after weekend, just climbing the points, having the best pigeons there. Now our next eye shows us, it's also a purple eye, not a pearl eye, a purple eye. But it's got a mark right there. Okay? A black mark. Our photo with our lighting is not so good, but I'm going to show it to you anyway through these eyes, and some of these eyes you will see on the photo. And I'll refer you to the photo, to our magazine. Our next eye that we have here has got a black mark. 1208 through Van der Velde in top race on long distance, bred outstanding races of overnight flights. She's got black there, and also see the black coming through there. See there, and from there it just blows out to the outside. Black marks in the iris, always a sign to be either a good racer or a good breeder. You have to test both sides. You'll find one of them, this pigeon is very good in. Let's go to the next one. That is the mother of these 2 youngsters that laid those 9 eggs. She's got black over there, black over there, black over there, coming through. As a racer, she was good, but a breeder, even better. My best breeding hen that is not from the Hobans. 005 is my best Hoban hen. This is a trip to Louvote hen. Okay, let's go to the next eye. We have got black on this eye, on the top, right there. And we have got black coming through right there. Racing a 3rd year, a federation winner, numerous prizes in the top, showing you again where there's in the iris black marks, it's either a good racer or a good breeder. Let's have a look at the next eye. Now this guy, the black smudges through the whole eye around. Black is coming. If you keep this pigeon in your hand, you see it's a purple eye, but with black smudging from the bottom. Like you take toilet paper, you put it onto water, the water is smudging through. The black is smudging through underneath the eye, all around that area. Okay? Next eye. It's got black on the side there. A federation winner as well. Okay, see the black there? Coming through. On our next eye, we have got a black line right there. And you see the black, this is not a bullseye, because a bullseye you can't photograph. It's a purple eye with black smudging all the way through. And have a look, it's got a blue bishop circle right there. Not often you see that. But it's smudging through, make the eye darker and a black line over there. Very great breeding, Janssen hen, imported from the UK. Our next one, got a mark right there. Louveaute cock, my number one Louveaute cock. Wonderful eye in general, but a mark right there, never raced before, and a wonderful breeder of, I think, 2 to 3 federation winners and many top scorers. Our next eye shows us there, right? This is the eye of the Liefdes hen, 13-time first prize. She was also on the Olympiad together. Charles and them had a pigeon in 2001 that was very good. I think she was the 17th best long distance pigeon in the Olympiad, but that's not the importance. It's got the black line right there. If the lines are coming in the iris or black spots in the iris, never underestimate the breeding of the racing ability of a pigeon like that. Now our next one, very bad to see on this eye, but that is Poikikos. Acebird South Africa 2000. And she has got a black mark over there, but she has got over here also a black mark. There it's coming through, right there. See? Our next eye, there it's running right there. This is Star Lady, double winner, the Cluck, imported from the UK. There's lying right there. And also on that side, there's a patch coming through on that side. Our next eye, that's my main visitor cock. Now, I rested him softly, together with the Janssen cock, infertile, no longer place. I call him also the dumbboard cock, because his eye looks like a dumbboard. It's got patches all over, like that. And you see how it's running there, and a very good eye. You see how the black is coming through? Now let's go on to the next eye. There we have, right in the middle, just have a look at the veins in these eyes, how they run. And it's been established that that's not blood that's actually there, it's fat. In the book of Dr. Colin Walker, the Australian vet, if you read about that, it's fat that's around there with colour in it. And there's the black line on top. Federation winner, overnight, by 45 minutes. Okay, next photo is the first photo we have to show you again, just to remind you. Never underestimate a pigeon where the black is in the iris of the pigeon. I'm not talking about bullseyes. Now I'm giving you a hint. Your best breeders will come from this color of eyes. Purples. Not purple eyes. Not pearl eyes, purple eyes. Now I must make one statement. Remember that if you have pigeons that haven't got the black in them, they will also be good racers and good breeders. But my statement to you with these photos are that the pigeons that has got black in them, you must never underestimate, because they have got a wonderful breeding or racing ability, and you have to test both abilities to find out what this pigeon can be worth to you. Now I've given you a lot of things about pigeons, very interesting pigeons, that will all be put onto form and will be distributed and available to everybody to research again. Now what I've given you, take it back to your lofts. Go take a book, go make notes, go get a little torch. There's LED torches. Put it under your egg. Start working on your overpopulation and start retaining pigeons and breeding pigeons that can make your loft excel. So this information will push you in this year to come and the years in the future, not to look at other things anymore, but to look at things that's 95% sure in pigeon racing. And will take you to other height in racing and a sport that you and the family can enjoy. And I've just given you another bug that will turn you upside down in science of pigeon racing.